Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every month, not every week or day at this stage. We
You
had a
could
little
even
bit of
say year at this stage, couldn't
yeah,
you?
absolutely. We bring you once a year, yeah. This is our first one for 2025, so bit of crack. So we take a look back at the FA Cup, the draw, and some of the results. Take a look at the Premier League midweek action. A couple of little news points as well. A little chat about transfers, just to break us in easily back into it again. It feels like I think it's nearly been at least 3 weeks since we've done a podcast anyway. So.
Speaking of breaking things in easily, can we tell everyone about poor Pep?
Yeah.
I just read about that, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out is either of them upset?
I heard it was Giggsy after the match on Saturday.
I heard it was Kyle Walker, and that's why he's getting the boot.
Straight over to Saudi.
It does explain a lot, though.
Mm.
Do
you not think?
And the missus is holding out on the divorce now, isn't she? Waiting for him to put pen to paper on the deal over in Saudi.
I bet.
100%. Interesting though. In the chat, Philip Dunleavy is in. How are you, Philip? Hello, gang. Good to see you. And of course, my main man who was in with me today. Evening, lads. What's the crack?
He was in on a Monday.
I was going to say
he's normally in most.
He doesn't
Mondays.
do every Monday. He does some Mondays and every Wednesday.
Yeah, but he normally does a lot of Mondays unless there's something on or he's away. Christmas time would be different for him and stuff. But
I heard a rumour he was playing in goal in Dunboyne there 2 weeks ago or something like that.
He was
really?
Yeah, I heard that. I can't tell my who
your
told
sources.
Me, yeah. He was playing in goal.
Good man, Baz. I love that.
The report from last night's Astro was he didn't score too many, but he was like the Haya in nets.
Ooh.
Arbaz a bit of a goalkeeper as well, lads.
Good man, Baz.
Part of the fraternity here, as they say. William's in as well. What's up, lads? Good to see you, William. Daz is in as well.
And we asked Will what score the pill was on Saturday.
Could ask me.
There
you go. I went to both matches in the not so lucky Leprechaun, the unlucky Leprechaun. Every time I go to that pub in Orlando, we
did you kick the Leprechaun after you left it, or
I didn't because it's not that type of bar. This is a Celtic supporters club, and when the Celtic game finished, I'll give you a laugh. Speaking of fire sticks, now this was beyond this. At one stage, they had the match on about the Liverpool game on 8 screens, all big screens, 8 screens around this sports bar. Not one of them was in sync with the time, all different times. I was watching a game here, and I was facing this way. There was 3 minutes to go in the Liverpool game,
and they're taking a corner.
No, behind me, it was full time. Spurs had 1-1-0.
It was that far behind.
And when I heard Spurs had 1-0, I jumped up out of my seat. There was a load of English there beside us, and just me and Ben. I jumped up out of my seat and I said, "Get in, Liverpool, yeah!" Sure, the match was done. It was messing me up. Nearly all are turning around and all. It was quality.
Worse, man.
But yeah, mental to see it.
It used to be like that in Barco, does it? Do you remember that some of the tellies behind the bar were a bit behind?
I do, that's right.
Loves a bit of Astro. Love
that Barry. I love that Barry.
Right. I hope you two boys had a good Christmas and Happy New Year. And of course, a Happy New Year to everyone in the community here on the Upper Tier. Another year under our belt. So we're still here, which means at least 20 of you like listening to us anyway, that's for sure. Suppose we should start with this, wouldn't we? Dean Windass, being diagnosed with stage 2 dementia, listening to his interview the other day. Very upbeat, very positive guy and stuff like that, taking it in his stride and all. But I thought we'd bring it up and wish him well and stuff like that and all, you know. So, but interesting.
I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, absolutely. Came out the other day.
Wow. David May said it in an interview the other day, and then he came out and done an interview himself. Then and
May was doing was it May's interview under the cosh, was it?
I'm not too sure if it was under the cosh. Could have been. I haven't seen that one.
There, he was on there last week, I think, because he dropped a few bombshells about the White York and stuff.
Did he? I must watch.
He dropped a few bombshells.
And actually, he was getting grief over mentioning the dementia with Dean Windass.
I would think he did.
No, but afterwards, people found out he had already spoke to Dean Windass about it, and Dean Windass had no problem beforehand. So it was all ironed out, but he was getting a lot of grief beforehand over it. So there you go.
Marky, did you hear any of what he said about Yorkie? It's absolute gold.
I didn't realize he was on it. I watched that now.
It was absolute gold. He talks about after United winning the treble, Yorkie goes into the manager's office and says, "Gaffer," he says, "I want to take a year off." And the gaffer was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, I want to take a year off." And he was like, "Why would you want to take a year off?" He goes, "I want to go all around the world and celebrate and just see the world and blah, blah." And the gaffer was just like, "What? Are you all right or what?"
Mad bad.
He's like,
Marky, that sounds like Tony Brown hit him up for a few Legends games or something, doesn't it? Malvern would have a few Guinness and all and enjoy yourself.
Chris told me before, it was well known back then, they had a Christmas party, and I think the story's been told, and Yorkie went around Harvey Nichols in Manchester and invited all the women to the party. So all these young lads were coming in, seeing all these girls from Harvey Nichols, and all. It was unreal. He was a playboy. Like
he talks about it. May talks about it quite a bit. He said he used to go into training in the morning, and he said he'd walk through the reception in the training centre, and there'd be just some random girl sitting at the reception, and he'd be like, "See, Yorkie is in." And what happened was he'd take them out of the house so that he didn't leave them in the house, and he'd bring them to the training centre with them, and then he'd ask the girls at the centre, he'd say, "Get them a taxi out here, will you? So that they're not here when I come out." And he wouldn't even pay for the taxi. He'd be on the club and everything. But he said you'd walk in and you'd always know how good a night it was by how many women was there. He said if it was a slow night, there'd just be one. He said, but it was a real good night, there might be two or three. He said, and he was absolutely horrid looking. He said, he looked like something that Van Gogh painted. He said, but he had a way with the women. And he said, he'd walk into a place. He said, they were in one place, he said, and the place was just full of models. He said, and this chick walked past. He said, and Yorkie always used to wear the baseball cap. He said, everywhere we went, he wore this baseball cap. He said, and this girl walks in. He said, and she was like Miss World. He said, and Yorkie just looked at her and went and gave it a finger and said, over you come. He said, about 15 minutes later, I look over and the two of them are eating the face off each other at the bar. And I'm like, what is going on here? He's like, this is bizarre. He said, it was like he put them under a spell or something.
That's mad. What was that, like Mosher and Break for the Border? Good.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Break for the Border, to name but a few. Safe to say, lads, get your thoughts on this. I mean, obviously we're halfway through the transfer window, which is kind of weird. Yeah, but safe to say it's being dominated by managers. What do you think, lads? Dyche out, Moyes back at the wheel at Everton. Lads, give us your thoughts.
Go on, Mark, you roll first.
I was going to say, you could see it coming. I was talking to Dave, he's an Everton fan. I think you might have known him, Dazza, from St. Luke's, Dave Malloy, and he was putting on money on. You remember
Mr. Malloy?
Mr. Malloy to you. I was talking to him there last week, and
he's not unlike Sean Dyche, by the way.
He is, yeah, exactly. But he was going to put money on him. And I said, no, I reckon Lopetegui go. And then the next day, Lopetegui goes, like, listen, Moisey coming in, yeah, there's going to be a feel-good factor about it. You look at the next three games, I think they've Villa, Spurs and Brighton, three really, really tough games. After that, I think they've Bournemouth and Leicester or something like that. So, massive few weeks coming up for them. Yeah, just it's going to be so tough. Then I think, isn't it the last Merseyside derby on the 12th of February then, isn't it, coming up the one that was postponed? So, massive job for him. But listen, if anyone could do it, you think Moisey would,
Yeah, I think I probably would have rather faced Dyche than Moyes with the history.
In the last game.
Yeah,
I think he was. I have two overriding things here. Number one, I don't know why anyone would go from Sean Dyche to David Moyes. Like, if I'm getting rid of Sean Dyche on stylistic marks, I'm not giving David Moyes the gig. But
it's a flip for coin, really, isn't it?
That's
style-wise.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you out one guy to give another guy a gig? And as we mentioned previously, and it's only my own opinion, I thought Dyche has done a great job at Everton. He steadied the ship massively.
Absolutely.
Like I thought he should have been given at least till Christmas next year in the new stadium. And if the Friedkin Group took over and were able to make money available to him and stuff like that, like I really think he's been hard done by. And to bring Moyes back, who, by the way, I am a fan of Moyes. I think he's excellent. Like I think Moyes was hard done by at United. I just think to go from Dyche to Moyes is just like out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Who are we thinking? Lee Carsley?
I put in the group, I said Lee Carsley. I thought Lee Carsley should have been the go-to.
I seen him linked. All right, it would have been interesting.
He was third or fourth favourite.
Yeah, I think he was about 8 or 9 wasn't he?
He was 8. Yeah, he was 8. That's right. And he's obviously involved in the England under 21s. He has guys that would come and would play for him. He has a nice style, a nice brand of football, like a team that wants to play football. But that's not going to happen under David Moyes. You're not going to be playing out from the back with David Moyes and inverting wingers and playing 2 double pivots, and like that ain't happening.
They don't have to worry about that anyway because they ain't got the talent to do it.
But Jesus,
yeah, absolutely. Dad's letting us know Penta apparently on Raw tonight. Looks like, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they put the picture up too soon, didn't they, on the Instagram?
They blew it out there,
on the WWE shop. Now, listen, when we mentioned that, I want the best luchador in the business last week, we knew what was going to happen. He was cut from last week's show for time purposes, like the women's Intercontinental. But I suppose to blow you out a little bit early, like they did, was probably somebody might get a slap on the wrist for it later.
Absolutely. What did we make also, lads? Graham Potter back in business at West Ham. Obviously, he was linked with the Everton job as well. Took the West Ham job. What do you think? Big task for him there at the moment now. Literally, the whole front line is out injured. Fulkrug's out, Somerville's out, Bones out, bunch of them out.
Mikel Antonio was out as well.
Mikel Antonio, he's gone for the whole season, I'd imagine.
He could possibly gone for maybe I'd imagine. I don't think he'll come back.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll come back. I think Potter's a really, really good appointment for West Ham. I think he's exactly what West Ham want, especially with the level of talent that they do have at the club. Now, I know obviously at the minute, if you look down the list, there's quite a few boys who are absent at the minute. But I think if you give Graham Potter and Mohamed Kudus and Jared Bowen and Crescencio Somerville and Nicholas Fulkrug, and apparently we know who the first signing is already.
Is it Duran, no?
It's not Duran.
We're seeing him being linked with West Ham, all right. There's Evan Ferguson, Duran, and Rashford.
It's Evan Ferguson, apparently.
Yeah,
apparently because Brighton had already come out and said he's going to go in January. He needs to go and play games and blah, blah, blah. And he was linked heavily with Fulham. Marco Silva at Fulham wanted to bring him in and let him compete with Jimenez and with Muniz because he's a very similar kind of player. But now it looks like the deal has been done for him to go to West Ham. And you'll probably see it after the Fulham game and maybe even before the weekend, I think.
Is that a full move or a loan with an option to buy? It's an actual move, is it?
It'll be a loan. Loan
with an option to buy kind of thing. Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know whether it'll be an option or whether it'll be, just put yourself in the shop window, go out and see what you can do type thing.
He's been linked with Arsenal as well, but hopefully when he does get a permanent move, obviously a lot of money will go to St. Kevin's then as well. So
yeah, absolutely. We'll get on to talking about
Arsenal. They're not short of a few quid, I can tell you.
I know, too right. Like Cherry Orchard.
Yeah. They're getting those good percentages all the time.
Big time.
They really are. Yeah.
Right, lads. FA Cup never disappoints. I suppose we'll start. Let's start with. I suppose the shock of the round is Brentford going out to Plymouth Argyle.
Sorry, we're not starting anywhere other than the fucking Emirates. Let's just get that straight.
No, I wanted to get all this out of the way and then give you plenty of time.
No. We're going to the Emirates now. None of you are messing now.
Don't have me muting you now. I'm the host. Like
we're going to the Emirates. Marky, tell us about it, pal. Will you tell us about the Emirates?
Mark,
Please.
you kick it off as the host of the Monday Mashup. Mark,
Oh,
you kick off.
Tell us about the Emirates, Marky, will you? I'll just sit here and drink.
Actually, hang on. Speaking of the Emirates, look who just dropped in. Big up, Del boy. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Big up, lads. Started taking it easy on me now.
Time to go, Del boy.
Head out. There we go. Right, go on then. Start at the Emirates. I didn't even see it.
Hook it into me veins, Marky, will you?
Yeah,
please.
The first half wasn't great. Second half, obviously, Bruno's goal, what a finish, good build-up play. We played some good football before that, but great build-up play. Obviously, Dallo getting sent off. I don't know what he was doing. That was going in for a tackle like that when you're already on the yellow card, and then obviously Arsenal score after that. But I thought we were excellent.
Because he's a tick. Yeah. Let's get it out there. It's not the first time he does these things.
I thought we were excellent after that. Arsenal were throwing things. Maguire,
he might be a tick, but he made shite at Trent 10 days ago.
He's a tick too.
He made shite of him. He had shite running down both his legs, actually.
Don't remember that. That was last year or whatever it was.
Talking of shite running down your legs, did you see that Maguire was in bed for 2 days before the game sick?
I didn't.
Yeah, he was in bed 2 days for 2 days in a row before the game sick, and then he goes out and gives a performance like that. He was unbelievable. Even an extra time.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
There's a few players in bed today sick.
I would imagine there's quite a few. I'd say this morning it was lads, everybody in and just get into the pool and just row it back in and just try and get a little bit back in the muscles. Because I mean, I counted also on top of the 90 minutes and on top of the 30 minutes, we then went and had, I think it was 16 minutes of added time as well. Because there was a 7 minute, there was a 5 minute, a 3 and a 1. Yeah. So at that stage, you're at about 135 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is carnage on a planet. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's like, even down to 10 men with the last 20 minutes. I'm sick of us talking about United.
Just having a rest on there, lads.
I was going to say, I thought we did, like, even 10 men an extra time and all, we did very well, To
hold out the way we did.
Really, really well.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a great save from Ray as well that keeps Arsenal in the game. And the deflection from Xerxes, I thought Xerxes did really well when he came on. I thought he held up the ball really well and he hustled and bustled against. Collier was great. I think he brought the energy. I think it was exactly the reason why we didn't see Casemiro. I think he knew we're a man down. We can't carry a guy who doesn't have legs. I prefer to have the kid on there and have him run around and chase everything like a Jack Russell than put Casemiro on and now we're down to 9 men with legs. That's why Eriksen and Casemiro didn't budge. He was very clever in the substitutions. I thought there was so many guys stood up yesterday. Like the keeper obviously has a worldly. Maguire was very good. I didn't even think Maguire was our best defender. I thought the Ligt was off the planet. He was so good. And especially considering in the game against Liverpool, he was our worst player by a country mile. So for him to come back a week later and say, you know what, I had a bad game. I'm going to park it. I'm going to come in this week and I'm going to do absolutely everything. This, again, over the last 2 weeks, we've seen the signs that the boys are starting to dig in. They're starting to turn the corner. I read a great quote yesterday from Manuel Ugarte after the game, and it was, when we have the ball, we're going to make a game of it. When we don't have the ball, we're going to make a fight of it. And I just love that because they dug in like they did at Anfield, and it was back to the wall, and it was everyone picking up the shovel, and it was exactly what we've had an issue with over the last 18 months to 24 months with United, where there was so many boys that weren't picking up the shovel and digging the same hole that everyone else was digging. So that, for me, regardless of whether you get...
I've had it for a decade nearly.
Well, regardless of whether we... listen, to get through the game yesterday is immense, but the performance on its own does so much for you, and it lifts everybody because it shows everyone. I mean, how horrific must it have been to be Marcus Rashford yesterday?
Yeah.
when you're sitting at home and you're watching these lads go out and put absolutely everything on the line for the manager, for the club, for the fans, for the badge, and you're sitting at home twiddling your thumbs, hoping Borussia Dortmund can cough up half your wages so you can go to Germany and fix your little head, because that's what happened, Jaden, and maybe I could get a move to London afterwards. Fuck off, Marcus. Fuck off. Yeah, gonzo, pal. Good luck to you. Get out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
As well, Tazza, when you said about the Ligt on the game against Liverpool, fair play to Boy in there, because obviously his last game was against Spurs in the League Cup, and we all know what happened there. So to bounce back the way he did was unbelievable, you know.
Niall will tell you. Niall, how long am we talking about this kid?
Yeah, Darren, anytime Darren's been over at a match, he basically normally either sends me footage or he WhatsApp me or rings me to tell me how good he is in the warm-up, that he's outstanding.
Yeah. And I've done this every time.
Since he's been.
And of course, we play Spurs, and of course, he has a nightmare. Now, I've told everybody about this, and I've fucking waxed lyrical about the lad. And I kept saying, I don't know why he's not getting a chance. I don't know why he's not getting a chance. Bloody blah, bloody blah. And in the warm-up, he just looks amazing. He takes crosses. He's hitting a sixpence 70 yards away. He's saving shots. He's K-blocking. Everything is just right out of the top drawer. And I just scratching my head going, I've no idea why this guy hasn't played a game. Like, I'm getting Wilfred Zaha vibes. And then he plays against Spurs. And, of course, we get absolutely upended and he has a nightmare. Well, yesterday was the day the kid deserved. He was a bit shaky for the goal. He absolutely should have came and taken the cross. He doesn't need to punch that ball. But after that, he grew. And he grew. And he grew. And it's amazing because they spoke at the start of the month that he was going to leave. And I mean, if you look at yesterday, the likelihood is he's probably put himself in a position where he may get game time based on yesterday's performance.
Because there was talk of Amran looking at another number 2 to come in and compete with.
Well, they had just brought a lad in. They brought a kid back from loan, and he started training from the under-21s, and he started training with the squad last week because he wanted a third keeper, because if Bayinda left, Heaton was going to be promoted to 2, and this young lad was going to be third choice. And then come Sunday, you get the performance yesterday, and now you're probably looking at Thursday night going, who's he start?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I believe he'll start Onana.
He will. I think he will.
But it's just to give him that much of a headache is what you want from everybody in every position. You know, you want guys. I thought Hoyland had a tough day at the office. I don't think it was bad. I think his work rate was good. I don't think we created the kind of chances that, you know, he would look for. But he still put the shift in. And then when, you know, Xerxes comes on, he goes and does the same thing. Yeah. And you're like, all of a sudden, these lads are all just pulling in the right direction. And it's so alien in comparison to what we've seen, as Niall would say, over 10 years. I'd say over certainly the last 2 or 3, you know. And it just gives you a good feeling, you know.
Big time. And looking at it as well, Bayinda looks more of a physical presence than Onana in goal as well, like, you know.
He's a bigger kid.
Yeah.
He's got a bigger set of shoulders than Onana. Now Onana is thicker.
Yeah.
You know, he's thicker everywhere. But this lad's a tall lad. He's probably about 6'2", 6'3", and he's got that kind of a V shape that if he decides to take a big leap up in the air, nobody's getting close to him. And we saw in the second half yesterday, he came and took a few crosses, and you were like, this is all we want. This is all we want. Just have the confidence to do it. You know?
Congratulations, Man United, FA Cup champions 2025. Anyway, was there any?
No, it was 2024. We won it last year.
Was there any other matches at the weekend, or what's the story? No. Big up, Kyle. Happy New Year to you, pal. Yeah, you've been saying all along. Arteta out. Big up, Del Boy. Ryan's in. Big up, Ryan. Good evening, lads.
Hey, Ryan.
Hope you had a good Christmas, New Year. We did. Hope you did as well.
Good to see you, Ryan.
And Ryan there, to win 3-0. That's bloody hell, mate. Ryan, I put you down for a 3-0 on Tony's. There you go. Joanne's in. Joanne, Happy New Year. Hello, you old buggers.
Joanne.
The OG. The OG.
Old buggers, Joanne. I'd love that to happen to us, mate, but think it will be a very tough game for us. The capitulation is now in place for Arsenal. Man United got that Arteta snowball and just pushed it off the top of the mountain, didn't they? And now it's rolling down that hill.
Joanne's been waiting for that for a while.
Who do you want in, Kyle? That is the $1 million question, isn't it? That is the million.
My cousin is an Arsenal fan, and I'd been talking to him on Thursday. It was his birthday, so I wished him a happy birthday. And obviously, then I had to go and give him a little bit after the game last night. And I said to him, I said, listen, all things being equal, if you don't get past Newcastle and you don't get into the Carabao Cup final, he's gone. And he said, should be gone already. And I said, okay, well, let's just say he doesn't get past Newcastle, because I don't think he will. I said, he's gone. Who do you want in? And he says, well, that's the problem. There's nobody jumping off the page. And I says, right, well, give me your wish list. Right. So here was my cousin Paul's wish list, Arsenal fan, big Arsenal fan. Now he goes over 4 or 5 times a season, brings his 2 little girls over the whole shoot match. His wish list was, you ready?
Yeah.
I'd take Julian Nagelsmann. I bet you would, right? I wouldn't mind Zidane. If he's coming out of retirement, it ain't for Arsenal. And then he comes in with, and I take Thomas Frank. Sorry, what? You take Thomas Frank. You're talking about Julian Nagelsmann and Zinedine Zidane, and now all of a sudden you're taking Thomas Frank. Sure, listen, let's get Eddie and Ketty back as well, then, will we?
At the way things are going at the moment, they'd probably take Bradley off Rovers at this stage, for God's sake. It's really bad. Joanne reckons they'll lose Wednesday and Saturday. I think Wednesday's North London derby, not looking good against Spurs, I would imagine. And then Saturday, I think, is Aston Villa, is it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Aston Villa. So tough times. Tough times. Coyle is going in with Inzaghi. I think he would be really good. Anyone at this stage has to be better than this fraud. There you go.
Yeah, Spurs and Villa, you're right.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? Big up. Happy New Year, Jim.
Get Pat Royce back. Pat Royce, get him back in as intern. Sure, Wolves down in 2 weeks.
What a panel. Missed these streams. Absolutely. We're back. Don't worry. We'll have wrestling on Wednesday. We'll have Thursday tier talk on Thursday. Might even fit in a Nottingham Forest preview, but Jesus,
lads, did you see the video?
I'm not around for that one.
Did you see the video of the Tamworth fans slagging the Spurs players walking into the ground?
I did.
Yes.
I did.
Solanke walks in. You're just a shit Ollie Watkins. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, they're good. And it gave a great account of themselves as well. They were absolutely brilliant. 100%. I was looking at those boys getting a draw going. Where did it go wrong for us midweek against them? What the hell were we doing? You know what I mean? Crazy. What did you make? Obviously, Plymouth knocking Brentford out as well was obviously unexpected, let's say, but happened, you know. Pretty disappointing for Thomas Frank, really. You know, Brentford would have been looking at the FA Cup as a decent kind of thing with a bit of a cup run and stuff, you know.
Who went in as who's managing Plymouth now? Obviously, is there a full-time manager or is it still intern?
No, I think it was an interim. Now, the one thing I will tell you is the boy who got the goal, Morgan Whittaker, he ain't going to be there much longer. I believe the chain of events that we're looking at is Atlanta United in the MLS have 18 million down on the table for Emmanuel Latela at Middlesbrough. And Middlesbrough will in turn look to bring Morgan Whittaker from Plymouth up to Borough.
Yeah.
And that'll be part of the merry-go-round. That's what I've heard. But I know the Atlanta United bid is on the table. I think Middlesbrough would probably like a little bit more if they could get it. But 18 million is not a bad chunk for Emmanuel Latela.
Absolutely. Yeah, send me on the link. I haven't seen it yet. I'm barely going to do them now, though, as I'm going to be focusing on revising. The old exam season is back. Anything else stick out in the round?
Just it was great seeing Shearer's reaction when Bromley went 1-0 up, you know, on the commentary and the match yesterday. Brilliant.
Did you see Emmanuel Petit's interview? Apparently Emmanuel Petit came out on Arsenal and he said they're the only club that could spend 700 million and still need a rebuild.
Well, we know that's not true.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
And what I mean by that is we've probably outspent them 2-1 and we still need a rebuild. Yeah. So, they're definitely not the only club.
In fairness, you've still a lot of good parts in place.
City at the minute would probably need a real rebuild.
You reckon?
I would think so. Well, look, they're going out of their way to spend money at the minute, aren't they? The boy Kushinov has come in from Lens for £37 million. I think the fee is the only issue at the minute with Frankfurt for Omar Mamouche. The personal terms have been agreed and stuff like that. They'll get that done. And then they're going back in for this kid from Brazil, the Palmeiras centre-back, Vias, because it looks like Andreas Pereira will go the opposite way. Yeah, they've got about 20 million down on the table for Pereira, and that looks to be coming out of the money that they're getting for the centre-back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Jack's second channel, folks. Misfits Madness. Make sure you go check that out and give him all the support. Yeah, Joanne Emmanuel, he doesn't mess about at all with his criticism. Will we take a look down at the draw, folks?
Did you happen to see any of the Manchester City Salford game?
Yes,
I did.
Joe, what? Did you see the 16-year-old lad they put on at the end?
Yes. Yes.
And then I was sitting here with my daughter, Nicole. She's 15. There's a lad on the bench born in August 09.
That's right. Did a 15-year-old who didn't get off the bench.
Yeah,
that's right. Now I have to say, I watched it, and we all know the level City are at and stuff like that. And it wasn't necessarily City's first team. There was a mixture of players and stuff like that. But I looked at some of the Salford lads, and I just thought, if there's ever a reason why you're not getting out of League One, it's some of these players.
Yeah.
The boy, the captain that played at centre back, the boy Tilt, was fucking horrific. He may as well have had one leg and been hopping around playing in the fucking Special Olympics. He was absolute garbage. Like garbage. And I'm just thinking, there's another club, and at their level, they've spent massively. They would be the big spenders in League One. And they're going in with a guy like this, who you're thinking, who recruited this guy? Who brought this guy in the door? Because he was absolute dire. Really was.
Yeah. Tilt was with Blackpool for three years. That's where I've seen a lot of him. He's not great.
He was horrific. My God.
I meant to send Bodie as a WhatsApp the other day when I seen it. What did you think of their jersey? Very similar to something, wasn't it? The Salford jersey.
Did you see? Did
it look familiar?
They were training in the cliff the week beforehand. They were giving the run of the cliff. So, but obviously it didn't do them any good.
No.
Did you see Scalzi on the overlap and all wearing the Salford hoodie all week? They've been promoting all the range and stuff, You
see the mush on him in the stand during the game.
Yeah.
Him and Nicky Butt,
looked like he wanted to get out there playing.
And then you give somebody like Carl Robinson the gig, right? And then you sit gigs underneath him. And you're like, surely this takes away from what he's trying to do. Because if I'm a player on that pitch and I've got Carl Robinson telling me A, B, C, and D, I probably look past him to see what Ryan Giggs is telling me.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Difficult position, isn't it?
Very.
Well, let's be honest, you could put Giggs, both Scholes and all out there and kit them out. And they'd probably give a good account of themselves.
You certainly could, watching the boy Tilt, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a few caps for Jamaica as well.
Tilt?
Yeah. I think it was just just after he left Blackpool, he got a few caps for Jamaica, yeah. And I think he must be 34 now or something like that. He's been knocking around.
He looked slower than Gary Neville did the season he came back at right back, and that was the time when he went, "No, I'm out of here. Can't do it anymore."
He looked like he's friends with someone there, doesn't he? He looks like someone's giving someone the rope.
When he was with Blackpool, he was the exact same, and obviously he would have been a few years younger than he is now. When he was exactly.
Was it the old Neil Warnock didn't pay the painter to paint the house, but gave the son 30 minutes in a pre-season friendly?
Yeah, remember that? Yeah. Oh, right.
Absolutely.
Have you happened to see Warnock and the Son? They have an Instagram page, and it's all about golf. And the son's quite a good golfer. And Warnock is trying to keep up with the son, and Warnock is fucking terrible. And he plays golf like he play football. His technique is horrible and it's fucking awful to watch. And, he hits a tree wood and he hits a tree and a fucking barn door and a banjo and ends up 4 feet in the hole. And it's just dreadful to watch. But it's very good on Instagram. It's really funny to him and the young. It's good crack,
Yeah, I don't know. Did you catch? I was watching it when I was in the States there. That team event, was it the indoor thing?
Yeah, it's just the start of it, yeah.
God, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? It's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You don't even have to walk. That's my game now. I like that. You just stroll.
Did you see Shane Lowry? He said, I'm gonna be the fucking Scotty Scheffler of this indoor golf crack.
Yeah, it was good though. And it was good to see Tiger and Rory and all the boys in the boot and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because we know there's been heat over years and stuff like that and all, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool.
It looks amazing. Like, it looks really, who knows, the way things are going in the States with these fires and everything else. And of course, a shout out to all those people and all that kind of stuff that's going on there is absolutely crazy at the moment. But we could be looking at the future of golf. This could be it. Right, 4th round draw. Ruud van Nistelrooy going back to Old Trafford in the away section. Talk to me.
I like when we were the first ones out, obviously. So I was delighted with it. Leicester at home, the way we're playing as well. I think it's obviously it's a few games between now and then. There could be injuries and stuff like that, but the way we're playing, I'll be confident enough for beating Leicester and getting through to the next round. Yeah,
it wasn't a bad job, a bad draw at all for us, was it? And I think the really nice thing is, again, it comes on the back of Ruud being there recently, so he'll get a good reception and the fans will enjoy having him there. But I would hope it's on to the next round for us,
What were you looking at the top ones there? Kind of Brighton, Chelsea, and Villa, Tottenham. Being the big ones to stand
I think Villa and Spurs is the toyed around for me, isn't it?
Yeah. Although Chelsea Brighton could be a real interesting one as well. Yeah, interesting.
You'd have to find supporters of both clubs first, though, wouldn't you? It's not easy.
Yeah. Did you see Maresca's interview today? His pre-match interview.
No.
Your mum was asking him about the boy. Is it Vega who plays?
Yes.
For him, and he's linked with a move away.
Yes, that's right.
And they were asking him about the move away, and he said, well, he trained with me yesterday and he's at training today, so I don't really know what the plan is if he's moving away and stuff like that. And your man tried to probe him a bit further, and he says, look, for years I've been telling people I wanted long hair, but I didn't get it. He says, so that's the way it goes. So he says, there's nothing more I can tell you. But he's a bit of a character in the interviews, Maresca, I have to say. It's good to listen to.
He's I think he's a really good player, this kid, Vega. And I said this a couple of times. He started 3 of the last 4 international breaks for Portugal in centre-back, in the left-sided centre-back slot. Yeah. Now, they've a couple of injuries, obviously, with Ruben Diaz and stuff like this, but he started for Portugal and he's done quite well. Now, the issue is he's asked at Chelsea to play at centre-back, and Maresca has so far denied him. And he's played him as a left fullback. And the boy has said, you're putting a square peg into a round hole. I can do a job, but it's not my best position, blah, blah, blah. So what looks like is going to happen is he's going to probably get out of Chelsea so he can play a little more at centre-back and further his international career. But I think this could be a slip-up from Chelsea letting this kid go, especially if we're talking the levels that they are talking. Dortmund are talking 20 to 22 million. Like, if this kid is starting games at centre-back for the Portuguese national team, he's got to be worth double that. And if he goes, and we know what happens is if he goes to Dortmund and he has half a decent season, all of a sudden Real Madrid and Barcelona are in the door of 50 million. Maybe
you'd expect Chelsea to close that up, though, wouldn't you?
They should.
Well. They definitely will. They always do, don't they? So you would expect it. What else are we looking at here? Anything else stick out to you guys there? Villa, Tottenham, Everton, Bournemouth, be interesting. We're away to Plymouth Argyle. Who?
Fat Frank and Coventry.
Yes, interesting one there actually for McKenna. That's a good try, that one actually. That'll be a good one. Coventry very unlucky last season, if you remember.
Particularly at home for Coventry, you know, with Switch, if I had been at home for them, you think obviously give them slight more advantage. But yeah, but Coventry are inconsistent in the championships. I think they're 16th or 17th at the minute. They haven't got the run of games. I think Frank would have liked under his belt, you know.
Have they lost players from last season?
They've lost a couple, but
the
big thing was there was a bit of a downer after the playoffs, which can happen. There was that playoff hangover, and they lost a couple of players, didn't replace them, started conceding goals, and Robins had built their success on defensive solidity. They would win games 1-0 and they would nick games 2-1, and then all of a sudden they were shooing goals 2, 3, 4 every week, and then it becomes difficult because they're not scoring the volume of goals to stay in games. And the tide just turned a little bit too much. There's a couple of nice, tidy footballers there at Coventry. A couple of nice, tidy footballers. I don't think we're going to see them anywhere near promotion with Fat Frank involved. Nowhere near it.
Definitely not.
I think it's a stopgap until this experiment fails, and then they go and get somebody else to go and do the gig. You know,
100%. And they'll lose players. The likes of Ellis Sims and all will just go to teams higher in the Championship or maybe lower in the Premier League, you know.
Another guy the likes of Middlesbrough could look at, you know, if they're going to replace Emmanuel Latela, and Ellis Sims, really good footballer, the boy Sims, gives you a target up top, good with both feet, can head the whole shooting match, tidy player.
Yeah, absolutely. We drew away to Plymouth Argyle, who obviously knocked Brentford out, so they'll be plucky after that, looking for another Premier League scalp.
And it's a horrible trip.
Yeah.
It's actually way down there.
When the draw happened yesterday, I looked at it as a trip that we might do, and I was looking at it going, Holyhead, miles away from it. Like another, literally, should I say, nearly another country. It was unbelievable. Like,
that's right.
You couldn't get further away from it. Like,
yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like, and then I was looking at flights, and there's no flights into it, or like there's nothing even. I don't know what's even close from a flight point of view. It's crazy.
You're probably going into the likes of maybe Devon, somewhere like that. But if you're going into somewhere like Devon, you're probably going 80 hours. That's 2 and 2 each side, so that's a no from me. Thanks for your help, though.
2 Dyson hair dryers.
Literally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But interesting draw, and of course we'll follow and we'll update it as we go along. We love the FA Cup and stuff like that. Right, Premier League. Let's get into Premier League midweek. Love having midweek Premier League fixtures. Hopefully we start off Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. This is going to be very, very tough. Very, very tough, I think. I think Nottingham Forest at the moment are absolutely flying. I think they have a great setup in terms of their 11. I love the way their wing play works and stuff like that. Hudson-Odoi one side, Alanga the other side. Chris Wood's phenomenal at the moment. They've got a great back line and stuff like that. Really, really tough. Looking to do the double on us as well. The only team to beat us in the league this season. So, very, very interesting game. I think if we can come out of that with a win, that would be huge for us. I don't think we've been playing really, really well at the moment. Can't look at anything in relation to Accrington Stanley. It's such a changed lineup and stuff like that. Darwin Núñez, I think, is suspended for the game as far as I know.
Every cloud and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. But it should be interesting. But I'd say it's going to be a real, real good game. Looking forward to it tomorrow night. So I don't know. What are you boys thinking on that one?
I actually think you'll beat them.
Yeah.
I think you'll nick it. I've put you in 2 of my bets. For later on. Spoiler alert, I've gone Liverpool and both to score. I had 2-1 in my head. And I have Diogo Jota to score or assist because I knew Núñez was out and I thought he might start with him. Obviously, he played the weekend and got a goal and assist and stuff like that. So it's probably just coming into the type of form that you would want.
Yeah.
I think 2-1 Liverpool.
Hopefully.
score.
I think Brentford could upset City though.
Yeah.
They're due a win though. They haven't won in the last 6 or 7 games, haven't they? I think they only won with Southampton, wasn't it? That 4-0 that time.
The 5-0, yeah, that's right.
5-0, yes. So
the game against Newcastle that they lost at home was the first they'd lost all season.
Yes.
And it kind of hit them a little bit, and they took a little bit of a bump on the road. And obviously they trounced Southampton. Then the following game there was a bit of a sting then, and then they did more than enough out the other day to beat Plymouth, and it didn't happen. But it would be just like Brentford to pop back up with a result at that G-Tech Stadium and make things very, very difficult for Pep and the boys on the road.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, with the news coming out, of course, that doesn't help really. You know, obviously they're all professional stuff like that, but it adds to kind of the woes that are there at the moment and stuff.
Of course, it does.
The Walker news as well.
He got a little bit. He got a little bit salty in the presser earlier on. It was a bit quick and he was a bit sharp at times when after he said, any news about Walker? No. Will he play tomorrow night? I don't know. And you were like, oh wow, this is not going the way I thought it might have been. Yeah. And he just cut it off completely. But it just seems at the minute that he's in that position now that everything he touches turns to Skittles. I'm waiting on him to pick the phone and see the phone just disintegrate into 50 little Skittles.
Well, I mean, obviously he was preoccupied with the other news that was coming out as well, obviously. So
of course. And then you seen him having the bite with the lads getting the jersey signed, did you?
Yes, the autograph guys, and he advising them on life and everything and all.
Yeah, go to college, get a job, get it.
You hear a man saying to him, I was a chef. And he goes, why did you stop? You stopped for this? And the man has about 5 jerseys with a pad underneath, doesn't he? And he's signing.
They all go around Manchester and all. Did you ever see like Keane signing them that time? He had the fight with one of the fans and stuff. Like, did you at the hotels? Right?
It's horrific. Whatever about walking up and getting something signed. To stand there with a pad with about 4 or 5 jerseys ready to go and he whipping them off and stuff and all. They're just
right on eBay.
Come on. Yeah, not good. So, Marky, what do you reckon? Brentford, Man City? Think to be you've given us a score draw for Forest and Liverpool.
Yeah, 1-1 for that one, and I'm going to go for another draw again. So, I just think I don't know. I have a feeling Brentford are going to go ahead, and City are going to score late on in the game to equalise.
Okay.
So I'll go for another score draw.
Darren, Chelsea, the wheels start rattling a little bit. A little bit derailed, yeah.
Yeah, but I think obviously a good win in the FA Cup the other day, getting some certain players getting valuable time on the pitch and stuff like that was important. I think they're obviously at home. I think Bournemouth have been doing so well, but I think the 2 big injuries, and we have to talk about them, Evan Nilsson is out and Enes Unal is out for the season. Both boys are out. There's no number 9. They played Dango Quattara there the other day. He's not a 9, but he did a reasonable job, got a couple of goals and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be different in the league, and I think that's going to make life a little bit more difficult for Iraola. He might try to dip his toe into the market and pick up a striker just to give them some sort of option.
Evan Nielsen's huge for them, isn't he?
He is, and he's been excellent because even when he hasn't scored, his work rate's been phenomenal, and he puts a great shift in for the boys and stuff like that. But I just think that with the lack of goals, I think it makes it difficult for Bournemouth. And I think if they have to go and start trying to get into a game against Chelsea, I think Chelsea will pick them off. So I'm gonna go Chelsea 3-1.
Yeah, Marky.
I was gonna go Chelsea 3-0.
Okay.
I just think the lack. There are obviously a few injuries they have there, Bournemouth and stuff, and like as I said, I think Chelsea will go 1-2-0 up and just the Bournemouth will start to drop off. So yeah, I'll go 3-0.
West Ham versus Fulham. Darren, what do you think? New manager bounce, too much with Fulham, players missing with West Ham.
I think listen, Potter, he came in the other night and they played pretty well against Villa. They did well in periods and stuff like that. But I think the issue for West Ham at the minute is getting the right guys on the pitch. Like if you look at what he has there, you're probably talking about his front three all not being available, which is Bowen, Fulkrug and Somerville. That's an awful lot for a team like West Ham. Your backup striker is probably going to be Antonio. He's out of the game. It leaves you with Paqueta and Kudos and stuff like that, who are good footballers, but it does heap an awful lot of pressure on them then to get the goals. And it also means the boys at the back now, if we concede 1 or 2, we can't win this game because we're never scoring 3. You know?
Yeah.
And that's difficult. I think West Ham, like Bournemouth, will be a club who look to try and bring goals in January. I think Potter will change the style. He'll get them playing a certain way. I think he'll get a good tune out of certain players. But I think West Ham need a couple of additions the same way Bournemouth do. For different reasons, Bournemouth will want to maintain, whereas West Ham will look to try and bridge the gap and get clear of that relegation zone.
What are we taking here? Fulham?
I think a draw.
Draw.
I think a draw. Yeah, I think I'll go 1-1. It'll be a bit of a dogfight, you know. Fulham are a really good team. Really good team. But at times they just flatter to deceive a little bit, and they don't seem to take the chances because they create absolute bags of them. You know, they really do. And another reason why you could see them glaring and looking at an Evan Ferguson thinking, if this guy could come in and take, you know, a third of the chances we create, we could be, boom, right there, you know.
Mark, what'd you go on this one?
2-1 Fulham. Going for an away win here.
Yeah. Right, into Wednesday then. Everton versus Aston Villa. Moyes will be back on parade. The Blue Faithful at Goodison will be cheering his name, no doubt. What are we thinking on this one, Mark?
I think the new manager bounce, as they call it, won't be enough. Villa be too strong for them. You can see with Villa, like it was 2 games there ago, they started Duran and he was banging in the goals when Watkins wasn't and stuff like that. So I'm going to go Villa 3-1.
Darren?
I'd be shocked if Everton conceded 3 goals. I would be absolutely shocked. They've only conceded 1 at home in the last 7 games. So to concede 3 against Villa would be massive. I think it'll be dull. I think it'll be dire. I think Moyes will drag it down to a dogfight, which suits Everton. And I think Villa might nick it, but I think it'll only be by the odd goal. So I'm going to go Villa 1-0.
Interesting. Leicester versus Palace, Darren?
Yeah, like this is a game that could go either way, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't have thought that maybe last week when I was looking at this, but I think the weekend is a great confidence builder for Leicester. And did a great 6-2 win against QPR. A lot of boys getting on the score sheet, guys, you know, Mavididi and Vardy and stuff like that, and Elkaunis. So, like, Leicester needed that. They need that little bit of confidence to build under Van Nistelrooy. Palace are a team who are heavily reliant on Eberechi Eze. If he pours, Palace pour, and they win. But if he doesn't, it heaps pressure on the rest of the boys, and they just don't seem to stand up the way he does. Like Sarr has done well, and Mateta has done well, but I think there's so much on Eze's shoulders that if he doesn't have one of those games, one of those 9 out of 10s, I just find it difficult for them to get over the line in games because they don't have the goals in them, you know. Yeah. I think 1-1. I think it'll be good. It'll be end to end, but I think there'll just be loads of missed chances.
Interesting. Mark?
I was going to go Leicester 2-1. Just home advantage, like as I was saying, obviously Palace are reliant on a few players there and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the run out over the weekend against QPR would have done some of the younger lads the world of good. So yeah, I'm going to Leicester win here 2-1.
Newcastle versus Wolves. Mark, you start with that one.
What Newcastle will show up. I'm after putting Isak into me fancy. So from that point of view, I took Jackson out and put Isak in. So I'm hoping for good things from him, you know. Yeah, Wolves haven't been great. So I'm going to go Newcastle here 2-0.
Aaron?
Yeah, it's so hard to see past Newcastle with the form they're in at the minute. Obviously, we're looking to see Isak try and keep the run going as well. I think that's important. He's been phenomenal. I think Anthony Gordon and Jacob Murphy have done an amazing job of creating chances and opportunities for him to further what he's done so far. I can't see past Newcastle. Wolves don't score enough goals. They'll obviously still be missing Cunha. And they just don't have the firepower to blow a Newcastle off the pitch.
Ryan's in. I've got a little bit more faith than I did recently.
I think results-wise, they're absolutely trending in the right direction. But I just don't think I just think it's way too much for them to go up there, under the lights Wednesday night. Cunha's back. That'll help you. He's a fabulous footballer. But I think under the lights at St. James's Park, it's so difficult. That Newcastle fan base will get behind them massively. Eddie Howe's been doing a great job with them. And I think Newcastle will do it. I'm going to go Newcastle 3-1.
Be freezing up there as well Wednesday night.
Ice cold.
Absolutely. Then we go probably the fixture of the week, the midweekers. North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. Arsenal going in obviously on the back of that horror show yesterday.
They're going in on the back of a couple of bad results because obviously the Newcastle game is huge as well.
Yeah.
Spurs sort of trending in the right direction. A win at Tamworth, albeit after extra time, the win against you guys and stuff like that. I think anyone that's watched Spurs in the last two games would say the keeper's made a phenomenal difference. Like a phenomenal difference. The Czech boy, he's just come in. I think he cost him about 13-14 million, but he's done phenomenal. He looks very, very comfortable with the ball at his feet, with the ball in his hands.
Probably
he's
man
relaxed.
Of the match against us.
Yeah, he's relaxed, he's calm, and he's calming down everything in front of him as well. So a huge plus for Spurs to get somebody in like that in January is great. But from to hit the ground running the way he has is just, I think that'll help them, especially with Arsenal being a little bit blunt in front of goal. I think Spurs will actually win this.
That would be my thinking as well. Jesus obviously out as well. Looks like Jesus might have done an ACL.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. I haven't got the full update on that yet. So Jesus out, Saka out. Missing a lot of key players at the moment.
A lot of key players.
It's Havertz,
a lot of key players.
Is he or should he is the question at the moment. Is he or should he? I do have to say in the not in defense of him, but I seen posts being put up last night.
I'm gonna have to pop off. Sorry, the baby's just after waking up.
Yeah,
sorry.
Go on for it, I feel like kind of. I don't know if you seen it last night, Darren, on Instagram. They were posting things about wanting his missus to have a miscarriage and all sorts of things, and it was just
that's never anything that's never anything that we'd take part in or even acknowledge. To be honest with you,
football's never that far.
No, and listen, here's the thing: I was extremely frustrated with him as a Man United fan. The way he went down for the penalty and stuff like that. I think it's very poor. I wasn't impressed,
and even though there was no VAR, it's marking his card now going forward with refs. Because they look at that and go, "That's bad luck."
Yeah, 100%. From to slide it by Andy Madley was poor on Madley's behalf. But I think, as you said, like he goes down the next 3 or 4 weeks. Nobody's even looking at it. He could be triggered from the stands, and they won't look. When you're going to reap what you sow for a little bit there. Now, obviously, we still don't condone anything that's been said in relation to his wife or his girlfriend or his partner or anything like that, and that's just horrific. And we don't condone that at all. But I think at times you've just got to look at it and say, why are Arsenal so reliant on a guy like Kai Havertz? And that's not to say he's not a bad player, but he's not a number 9. And he is put there to be Arsenal's focal point. He is put there to be Arsenal's target. He's put there to be the guy who takes the chances. And you're just you're heaping pressure on this kid. And there's no need for it whatsoever because he's not going to stand up to it.
When we were doing our preview, I think back in August for the season, we were discussing Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I think I made the point that a number of their players in the second half of last season, that kind of January to May period, were performing way above expectation. And Havertz was one of those guys. Because the first 6 months, he didn't have a very good season. Second half, he came alive and things started going really well for him. And I did make the point that I said, what are Arsenal going to do? First of all, if they don't go in for a forward, a striker, we knew that was the case. And they didn't. And he rolled the dice on Havertz being that guy again. And I said it was highly unlikely that Kai Havertz, based on what we've seen in the past, would be able to replicate that level of performance going into the next season.
Lightning wasn't going to strike twice.
No.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I'm gonna go 2-1 Spurs here, and that will heap even more misery on Mikel Arteta and push him even closer to the door.
How far do you think it'll push to make the decision, or do you think they'd see out the season? Would they give him money this window? Doesn't seem to look like it, does it?
So I think the issue for me would be, and this is where I would have a grievance with what United did. I think if you make the decision that you're not going to continue the program with Mikel Arteta, you absolutely don't make money available to him in January. So you sit in your hands and you plow through. If you can get him a loan, you know, and if it's just a bare bones loan where you're getting a striker in, you're getting a number 9 in, to try and make sure that you keep that Champions League spot, and you pay a loan fee and you're paying, you know, part of the wages or whatever, and he keeps you there, and then when you come to summer, you hand the gig over to somebody else, and then you open the checkbook and say, right, we need to back this guy now, and that's what I would be doing.
Is it scary to think that they've spent that amount of money and that you're in a position where there's no Saka, no show?
I think the one thing I will say about it is, and I have this argument quite regularly, where, you know, people talk about how bang average Saka is and how overrated he is. I think that dispels that myth anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, until he's gone. It's like everything, until he's gone.
He's gone, you can see how bang average this Arsenal team is. And they are waiting to be led by this 22, 23-year-old Bukayo Saka. And he does lead them like so many other players couldn't do. It's phenomenal. It really is. It certainly adds weight to his value for himself and for Arsenal if they ever wanted to cash in the chips. I had as I said, I was having a discussion with my cousin last night, and I was throwing a little bit of dirt in his direction because obviously he's an Arsenal fan. But I sent him a very quick thing. We were talking about the squad and stuff, and I said there is quality there. I said you got Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Timber, Moreno, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. Now here's your problem. That's 12 players. Outside of that, what do you have?
Yeah, and obviously you look like, for me, when I looked at the business that they did in the summer, I mean, we were all kind of a little bit taken aback by Kai Havertz, where we the 65 million or whatever it was. That was a kind of an interesting deal. But then you look at this summer and you've got Moreno coming in, you've got Calafiori coming in, and yet there's still none of that kind of strengthening up front. You have Emile Smith-Rowe going out of the building. You have Reece
Nelson going out of the building. You have Eddie Nketiah going out of the building.
And nothing going on up front. And meanwhile, up front, you have a massive drop-off in Martinelli's form. Yeah. And a bit of injury there. Obviously, they lost Ben White. But then you also have Trossard, who has been okay, but flattered to deceive, and kind of hasn't really hit the Brighton kind of Trossard that we know at times.
So just on what you said there, I'm going to read you a reply from my cousin,
He said the same thing, did he?
He said, so when I said what I said, he came back and he said, no, Martinelli gone. He cannot stay. I can't watch him running out of play with the ball anymore. He can't take on a fullback. He's not developed. He's there too long to be still at the standard he's at. It's just not working. And that was on Martinelli.
Yeah, I got the feeling yesterday Odegaard as well went in at half time and he took a pain shot. Because he was limping around at the end of that half.
Yeah, he sat down with a minute to go and somebody came over to him and said, there's a minute left. Get to half time. And then he came out. And then, you get the penalty and somebody hands him it. And he's like, I can barely walk, lads. Why am I taking this?
Yeah.
And that's not on him. Now, to be honest with you, it's not the worst penalty in the world, let's be honest.
No, it was a good save.
It's a super save. It's probably going into the side netting, which we generally say, if he puts it in there, the keeper doesn't have a chance. He was able to get the reach and stuff like that. I think it worked for him. Martinelli needs to change his name to Martin. He's English, not Brazilian.
Check that passport.
He's certainly somebody who could end up down your neck of the woods, Ryan, at somebody like a Wolves. If Arsenal tried to get Cunha in, he could be some sort of a make-way in that deal, could he? Would you accept Martinelli plus cash for Cunha? Or would that not work for you? Or would you just want straight cash?
I don't think either of us are Wolves fans, and I don't think that'd work for us.
I don't know. I think.
Do you think?
I think there's levels. I think that's the issue. I think there's levels, and I think, I like Martinelli. I think he's decent, but I don't necessarily think he's decent enough to play every game for Arsenal.
His trajectory was too steep as well, wasn't he? He kind of went from here to, and then the expectation was huge on the boy as well.
And then you level off, and then from there it's downhill.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a bad player. I think the stage at Arsenal is a huge stage, and I think, he's not a guy who should start every single week for Arsenal without fail, and he does most of the time. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, and it's just it's kind of like when you look then at the purchasing and the windows, and they kind of really haven't struck the way they've pushed City the last 2 seasons. They haven't acted the right way in the transfer window. Sure, they haven't to go that next step.
It's batshit crazy that they don't have a number 9. It's absolutely batshit crazy. And if you think about it, we cribbed and moaned about City and about letting go of Julian Alvarez without replacing him. And that's City who have Erling Haaland. Yeah. Why would Arsenal think they could go out and not have a recognised number 9 or a backup? And they've neither. They have absolutely neither.
Well, what's happening at Arsenal is you're getting a lot of crowbarring at the moment because you
don't have a striker between Trossard, Havertz, and Gabriel Jesus if you mash them all together. Yeah. And he's still beating the drum.
Not for that level. Not for that level. Yeah. And they're about to replace Alvarez with Marmouche as well.
And this is what we talked about. That should have happened in the summer. And if 100%. It did, they may have still been in a title race. But at least they haven't wasted any more time. And at least they're saying, right, it's not working. We need to replace. And they're going out and they're looking at somebody who is what you would describe as one of the hottest prospects in European football right now.
You're kind of looking at Arsenal being in denial of the number 9 situation since what? Lacazette and Aubameyang?
Yeah.
What's that now? Is that 6 windows at this stage? 7 windows at this stage?
Because
Lacazette
6.
basically didn't even kick a ball for them in the last 12 to 18 months, I think. Sure he didn't. He was benched out of the team.
It's at least 6 windows.
So for 6 windows, they've been in denial of a number 9 requirement. Strange.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts, especially when you consider a lot of the talent that they had over the years. Your Ian Wright, your Dennis Bergkamps, your Nicholas Anelkas, your Thierry Henrys, your, they're Van Persie. They are strikers. They are goal scorers. They are finishers. Arsenal don't have that in their team right now.
Isn't it an interesting dynamic the way people say goals win you games and defences win you titles? It couldn't be so more opposite for Arsenal. Sure, it couldn't.
No, because generally speaking, they've probably got the best back four in the league.
They've got a back four built for winning the title, and they've got a front line without Saka that's kind of mid-table.
Yeah,
nearly.
Yeah,
absolutely. Isn't that really the truth? Isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, Ryan. He's a top player. That Kvaratskhelia. He's incredible. And
he's not going to Arsenal.
No,
not a chance. Because again, he's more of, now listen, when I say he's more of the same, he's more of what they have. He's not annoying. He's not annoying at all. He's a super footballer. He'll score goals. He'll assist. I don't know if the work rate is where you'd want it to be. I think he's probably going to go to PSG because he's going to get a shed load of money. He's going to guarantee himself a Liga title every season. He'll put himself in the shake-up for a Champions League, but he won't have to break stride. It'll be very, very easy. And I think that's the kind of guy he looks like. He doesn't look like a guy, that wants to get to Real Madrid or Barca, because I think that looks like hard work for him.
Or at least not yet.
I think we'd have seen it at this stage if he was going to. Yeah. He's old enough,
I suppose, especially there's been a lot of talk about Vinny Jr. and all, hasn't there? And all, so maybe if that was the case, and obviously they've their own sort of troubles at the moment, Real and stuff. After you seen yesterday, Barcelona 4-1 or something, was it?
5-2.
5-2 in the end, was it? I didn't see the end.
5-2 finished
4-1 at half time or something, was it?
It was 4-1 after 38 minutes. Barca had a man sent off and it finished 5-2.
Yeah,
they had Wojciech Szczesny sent off.
Wow.
So they go and take out a centre midfielder and put in a goalkeeper and stuff like that and just keep the ball rolling, and they managed to stay, and it was 5-2.
Ryan saying he's 23.
Thought he was a little bit older. I didn't think much now. I thought he was 24. But I still think at that stage, at 23, 24, you're 110% going to be on Real Madrid's wanted list if you're going to get there ever. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like Trent. Like Trent. What's Trent now? 25, is he?
Do you know?
Yeah, so you're spot on with that, I suppose. Right, I suppose the last two fixtures, Ipswich versus Brighton and United versus Southampton.
He turns 24 on the 12th of February.
There you go, good show.
So
good show by Bodie.
Yeah, we were up there, Ryan. We were up there, pal. We tag teamed. And Ipswich Brighton. Good game. Really expected to be a good game. Ipswich obviously looking to pick up points at Portman Road again. Couple of good performances. They're just on the verge of signing the boy Philligan from Aston Villa. And then his money is going to go straight back out the door to Borussia Dortmund for Daniel Malin. So it's 1 in, 1 out for Aston Villa. Two lads to play in very similar positions. So 1 in, 1 out for Emery. A little bit of quality coming in. I think Daniel Malin will do well for Villa. I think he will. Ipswich Brighton, I think there's a few goals in this. I think there's a couple of goals in this. And I think I might just go Brighton. I'm going to go Brighton 3-2.
Okay, interesting. That'd be a good game if that's the case.
Yeah, sure would.
And then United Southampton?
United.
Ah, yeah, of course.
United. If Brentford can put 5 past, Southampton, we can at least beat them, right?
Yeah, they're really poor. Really poor.
We should be able to beat them.
Oh yeah, Old Trafford and all, and
yeah,
you'd be on the crest of a wave after yesterday as well, of course. Like,
yeah, and I mean, like, I don't necessarily think that'll play into our hands because it's going to be a very, very different game. And I think this is the kind of game where we've had issues because we're not necessarily able to create the chances that we need to create. Obviously, the 2 games where we have standout performances have been, Liverpool and Arsenal, and they were games where we had to be under pressure for a huge amount of the game and defend well and play in the counter. That won't be the case at Old Trafford. We'll have a lot of the ball and stuff like that. It'll be up to the boys to try and break down that low Southampton block and create enough chances to get over the line and stuff like that. But I think we'll win. I'll say United 3-1.
Yeah, Ryan reckons United comfortably anyway.
Hopefully.
Right, do you want to give us your bets? I didn't do any because I'm absolutely wrecked at the moment. So
I just did 3 little ones, nothing too major, but just something to give us a little bit of a nibble on that bone. I've gone Chelsea both to score against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Liverpool both to score against Forest, and United both to score against Southampton, and that's 20-1.
Nice, straightforward, no messing out of
fairly
the box.
Fairly easy, yeah. To score assist, Savinho, great form for Manchester City, great form, really, really is. Ollie Watkins at Everton, Bruno Fernandes at home against Southampton.
Good show.
And Diogo Jota, Liverpool versus Forest. I called it earlier on. That's 18-1. Goal or assist anytime.
Not too bad.
And then I am rounding out with my cards. Anytime cards. Samari for Leicester against Palace. He's always good for a card, and this will be a dogfight, and he'll do something. I've gone Semedo for Wolves. Sorry, Ryan, because I think it's going to be a tough night at the office against Newcastle, and he plays on the side where Anthony Gordon plays, and I think Gordon's been in good form, so I'm going Semedo. And then I'm rounding it out with the boy Huyson at Bournemouth, because again, I think Chelsea might prove too much for Bournemouth, and he likes to tackle, this kid. He's a very, very good player, by the way, but he does like a tackle. So I'm going Huyson, Semedo, and Samari, and it's 30-1 for the treble.
That's nice. So we got a 20, an 18s, and a 30.
That's it.
Happy days. Nice, short, sweet, precise, to the point.
That's how I roll.
Not too much trepagy in it, as they say. So all good. Excellent. Well, pleasure as always. Big up to Mark as well. First show of 2025.
Yeah.
We're looking into a big season coming up now. Obviously, a lot of tough months ahead for all the teams and stuff like that. And all Europe will be kicking back in shortly as well, and much earlier than expected. As always. But yeah, big up to you. Big up to everyone in the chat as well. Like I said already, a big happy new year to everyone. I hope 2025 brings you everything you hope and want. We'll talk to you again real soon. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, of course. And we will be back. I'll be back Wednesday with a wrestling show. Don't even know what I'm going to put together yet, but we'll put something together. And Thursday, me and you will be back on the screens. The first Thursday Tier Talk of the year again, as we roll out again.
Sure will.
Ryan gets the last say. Great show, lads. Good to have the show back. Appreciate it, Ryan, as always.
Love that, Ryan.
Joanne,
love that, pal.
And to Coyle and to Dell and Baz and Daz and everyone in there. And
Jack.
Jack's in there as well. And did we miss anyone? Philip was in there as well. William, all the boys and stuff like that.
Really appreciate all that. Absolutely.
It won't be long as well before our League of Ireland coverage is back again as well for a new season as well. That'll be coming back pretty soon as well. So we'll be fully loaded up. So until next time, folks, catch you Wednesday for Pro Wrestling Weekly, or Thursday if football is your thing for Thursday Tier Talk 9 bells. Chat to you real soon. Cheers, bro.